Hello people, welcome back to another episode of the F1 2022 My Team series here on the channel today. I am excited for this race. We are in Monaco for the first time racing in Monaco on wheel and pedals. If you are looking forward to seeing this race, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. If you have missed any of the previous episodes in this season, make sure you go and check out the playlist on the channel, get yourself up to date, and you'll be able to see why we are currently on our 6th internal combustion engine component. Yeah, we've had a stinker with engine where Dutchy Games commented on one of my last videos saying that the engine issue is fixed. So, getting into this race in Monaco, we'll find out if that is the case. Charles Leclerc, check that out at the top of the championship. He has won every race that he's finished so far this season, and we are getting to his home Grand Prix in Monaco for the next one. Currently sat second worst car on the grid on the vehicle comparison chart. We've got a streamline something or other drag reduction upgrade coming in before the next Grand Prix, which is in Baku, which is an absolutely massive upgrade to get before Baku with the long straights. So looking forward to Baku as the next race. But first off, we have got Monaco. Like I say, my first time driving wheel and pedals in Monaco. Here's the setup on screen if you need a setup for Monaco. This is what I did find worked for me. I actually did practice a lot off camera before we even got into practice on the My Team, just online. Just doing some time trial practice, and I actually ended up top 5,000 in the world on the Monaco leaderboard on my first time racing in wheel and pedals. On controller, this track is absolutely impossible, so I was really looking forward to this race today, getting into qualifying with that confidence boost as well of getting top 5,000 in the leaderboards. Obviously, I don't even know how many people are in the leaderboards. There could be 5,000, so I'm dead last, but top 5,000 to me, that sounds like a good enough results. I got a 1 minute 11 something. Obviously that is using top tier cars. We are using our My Team car, which absolutely stinks at the moment, but third gear on the exit to the final corner to get better traction on the run down into turn 1, taking a wide entry, braking just under that billboard at the top. Going quite conservative through turn 1 now, not pushing as hard as we could. I just wanted to get a lap on the board as we head to the top of the hill in 7th gear, bringing it down to 4th gear. Very easy to lose the back end there, and we have done. And we kiss the wall ever so slightly, but it's enough to take off our front wings, so we pull away to the side. And Kevin Magnussen, what are you doing? Kevin Magnussen flies into the back of us. 5 place grid penalty for a collision with Kevin Magnussen, who is now out of the session. What has just happened? What has just happened? We pulled off to the side to let Magnussen pass. We pulled away from the racing line. Magnussen stuck behind us and drove straight into the back of us. The AI have a weird thing on this game where, like, it happened last race in Spain as well. I pulled to the side to let the McLarens pass me, and Lando Norris stayed behind me the whole way when he was supposed to just go around me and lap me. I don't know why the AI do that, but when you try and let them overtake you, they just stick behind you. And obviously, because we're going slow, Magnussen flies into the back of us and we get a 5 place grid penalty. So obviously, Monaco, a track where track position means everything, qualifying means everything. You can't really overtake in the race. It's very difficult to, like, we get a 5 place grid penalty anyway, so even if we could get into like P16 or something, we're still going to start from the back of the grid regardless. But can we get higher than P16? Can we try and offset this grid penalty, which is absolute BS if you ask me? Like, how did we get a penalty for that? We pulled away from the racing line because our lap was compromised, and Magnussen drives straight into the back of us. Like, that is not fair in my opinion. But we go for another push lap anyway. Obviously we haven't even set one yet. Getting into the swimming pool chicane, this is where I gained a lot of time on cars in the race, as you'll see. But we kissed the wall on the exit there because we're pushing so hard. And through the final corner, carrying too much speed, that takes off the whole front wing. But there's only one corner left. We managed to keep it neat and tidy through the final corner and take a short run down to the line and cross the line with a time of, I can't see the time because I've paused it now. But we are in P20. We're going to go again though in quali for another lap. Going to be our final lap in qualifying. Short shifting to third on the exit to the final corner, like I say, yet again, and carrying some speed now. Can we push it through turn 1? We know turn 1 there's a lot of time to be gained. Go quite conservative again, but it still puts us up green in the delta on that previous lap. Again to the top of the hill, down to 5th gear this time because I didn't want the back end to kick out. Going slow through the top of the hill here, and then heading downhill, avoiding that bump in the middle. Down to 2nd gear. This is a horrible corner for me, understeering through it there. Now into the hairpin, the infamous Monaco hairpin, using the curb for extra rotation there to get the car around. In 2nd gear, again using the curb for rotation. Very tricky braking zone here. 2nd gear, short shift to 3rd on the exit, push it right up to the wall. red in the delta, but through the tunnel section, a lot of time to be gained still with the other half of this lap. Downhill braking about 100 metres into a very tricky zone. Jumping the curve there, careful not to take damage if you do that in a race, too much damage to the undertray of the car. Down to 4th gear, pushing wide on the exit, staying as close to the walls as possible, bouncing off the curves, braking a straight line. 3rd gear, throwing it through that swimming pool chicane there, and we are up in the delta still by a significant amount through the final corner. And there's one corner left. Can we nail it? Yes, we can. 3rd on the exit, hit that DRS. We're going to be 9/10 up, I think that says. I can't even see from where I'm sat. And we have to avoid one of the cars coming out of the pits there as we were taking that short run to the line. Someone came out of the pits and absolutely, we nearly wiped them out there. I don't even know who that was. I think that was Mick Schumacher in the Haas. We've obviously had trouble with his teammate in the other Haas. But coming through now towards going the downhill section, our teammate Piastri, I think that was, pulling out of the way. Really need to get closer to the screen. I can't see nothing from where I'm sat right now. But we got down in the delta, going for another push lap, like I say, because we did, of course, have that extra time to go for one. But we do not have that ERS deployment. As you can see in the bottom left, we've spent all our battery on that first lap. So I am going to change, I do think, yet to ERS deployment none, and we're just going to try and harvest energy coming through these final few corners as Piastri gets right on our tail there. Looks like Piastri, who wasn't on a push lap, but it looks like he wants to push and get us out the way. So we're going to try and find a place to let Piastri go past as we try and harvest energy. There we go, through the swimming pool chicane. There goes Mick Schumacher as well. He goes off the track. And there goes George Russell in P2 currently, on for provisional pole, or trying to, and he puts it into the wall there. I don't know if you've seen that, and we put it into the wall on the final corner, take off our front wing as we try and set up our next lap, and we have to come into the pits, as does George Russell, because Russell behind us, very briefly, you saw that he threw it in the wall coming out of the swimming pool chicane. But yeah, so we pull into the pits, we can't go again. We didn't have the battery really to push again anyway, so we are just going to have to accept our results, which is unfortunate. You know, I felt like I had a lot of pace for this Monaco circuit, but our car just stinks. Like I say, top 5,000 in the world. You know, talk to me nice, but yeah, into my team, it's a different kettle of fish. Yeah, it's a different car, and we finish significantly last. We're gonna have a 5-place grid penalty anyway for the collision with Magnussen, which was his fault. Why did he drive into us? You know what I mean? But yeah, so we're starting dead last. Let's get into race C if we can make up some of the time that we did lose here. Can we have a good race? Let's find out.
Nelson Piquet once said that drive.
And we have to mute that there because we don't want to hear what Nelson Piquet had to say. Yeah, let's turn that off. Let's turn that off. Now we can go back to Crofty.
There's no more prestigious a Grand Prix victory than Monaco, but also none so challenging. The astonishing Circuit de Monaco is, for all intents and purposes, virtually unchanged since its inaugural race back in 1929. The faster cars of today ensure the 19 corners past the casino and along the seafront remain as thrilling as ever. A 2.1-mile lap here takes us around an entire country, yet never more than inches from the race-ending barriers. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and starting next to them is George Russell. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Sainz, Max Verstappen, and Bottas, Norris, Fernando Alonso, Mick Schumacher, and Yuki Tsunoda, Ocon, Ricciardo, Pierre Gasly, and Joe, Albon, Perez, Sebastian Vettel, and Oscar Piastri, Stroll, Latifi, Magnussen, and the owner-driver. And now it's time to head down to the track. It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat is Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching out for as they head into turn 1?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into turn 1 as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
There we have it then, Charles Leclerc, the Monaco, taking pole position in his home Grand Prix. Can he turn that into another race win? Like I say, he's finished every race, or he's won every race that he's finished this season so far. Normal strategy for everyone was medium hard. We flipped that into hard medium just to try and get an alternate strategy. 5 red lights, and then lights out, and away we go. Charles Leclerc off to a slow start compared to the Mercedes on the front row. Next one, that's George Russell heading down into turn 1. Slow start for us right at the back yet again. George Russell is the best of Charles Leclerc. Going into turn 1, we have to go heavy on the brakes. Magnussen shuts the door, so we can't go up the inside. Kevin Magnussen taking that grid penalty also. Must have had to take new components in the car because he did smash the car up into the back of our car. Sergio Perez, another guy taking another penalty. I swear he took a penalty in every race so far this season. We're getting into the phase of the slow corners up the inside of Nicholas Latifi. Can we make a move alongside Latifi? Yes, we can. And we're past Piastri, and we're past Magnussen too. Into the hairpin now, upside along behind Lance Stroll, alongside Magnussen, who has to tuck in behind us. Great moves from us on those first 2 slow corners up into P18 or 19. Kissed the wall slightly, I think, on the exit of that corner there, as you see him coming around the corner. Through the tunnel now. How much speed can we carry? Using a lot of battery to try and pull away from Magnussen. You see how close Magnussen is to us behind compared to how close we are to Stroll in front. The gap behind is definitely closer than the gap in front, which we need to try and close down as we head towards the end of lap 1 here. Getting the tyres up to temperature, obviously on those harder compounded tyres as well compared to the cars around us. So it was a miracle that we really had the grip and the traction to make moves like that. But coming through the final corner, struggling for that grip, like I say, on the first lap of the race. Now pushing down the main straight. 1.4 seconds the gap to Lance Stroll. DRS doesn't really do too much around this track, especially in terms of help and overtake. But it is definitely useful. It'll help you on the straights, more speed on the straights, of course. Help you increase your lap time. So we really need to try and push that gap to Lance Stroll to close that DRS gap. And can we do it? Like I say, I felt like I had pace in the car around this circuit. Well, maybe not in the car, but just pace in general around this circuit. Can we push as hard as we can into the hairpin now? People are going to start trying to overtake each other on the first few laps here. Hold each other up, trying to make overtakes somewhere. And there's hardly anywhere to make overtakes in Monaco, especially with how big the cars are these days, especially these new regulation cars. Absolutely ridiculous to try and make an overtake in Monaco. But heading downhill, braking zone now, you can see we've closed the gap to Stroll. 1.2 seconds now compared to 1.4. Pushing close to that apex on the exit. 1 second now, the gap to Stroll. We are definitely catching the Aston Martin driver in front. I think Aston Martin were the only team on the vehicle comparison chart that were actually worse than us. Even Williams have overtaken us now. We were ahead of Williams, but we haven't brought an upgrade for quite some time. Almost going into the wall. Through the final corner there, hard tyres, not my friend on this game whatsoever. Absolutely hate it when we have hard tyres on, but by the end of the lap, DRS is now enabled at the end of lap 3, or at the end of lap 2, start of lap 3, and the gap to Stroll is back up to 1.5 seconds as we climb the hill now, losing a lot of time to Stroll on certain corners, but certain corners we make up the time. It's just whether we can, offset that and make up more time than he gains. But it is going to be a very difficult task to try and catch up. Sergio Perez in P16, he's making moves in that Red Bull, even though he's got a faster car than the majority of cars in front of him. Still so difficult to make those overtakes in Monaco. They really need to do something with this circuit, in my opinion. Like, it's obviously a spectacle. It's one of the most famous race courses of all time, probably for Formula 1 especially. It's a staple on the calendar, but it just doesn't make for good racing, Like, seeing drivers on board and driving it myself, like, it was so fun to do. Like, the adrenaline gets pumping. You're so close to the walls, and each apex you're so close to hitting that steel wall. But in terms of wheel-to-wheel racing, it just doesn't make for good viewing. And even in the races, like, it's really intense. It was a real workout for me driving this on the Fanatec setup, because you're constantly fighting the car through every corner. The bumps in the road, it's constantly unsettling the car, constantly fighting it. But yeah, like, in terms when it comes to the actual racing and overtakes, it's just not very entertaining. So climbing the hill again, the gap to Stroll now 2 seconds, because he had that DRS on Zhou Guanyu in front of him, the Alfa Romeo. We did not. Magnussen now 2 tenths behind us. Where is he going to try and make? and move down to the hairpin, not the hairpin, sorry, into the chicane at the end of the tunnel. And you can see we have front wing damage on the MFD. It is showing that we have front wing damage. I don't actually know where we picked that up. But it might have been on lap 1 when we kissed the wall after coming out of the hairpin, like I mentioned. It looked like we kissed the wall. It didn't feel like it in the cockpit. But according to the MFD, we do have some minor front wing damage, and that's going to cost us a lot around Monaco. Obviously, downforce is key. You saw our setup was 50-50 on the downforce, front and rear. Downforce is everything. So when we've got a lot of front downforce, it's really going to cost us in this race here. It cost us time, and as you can see, it already has. Lance Stroll nearly 6 seconds ahead now. Magnussen 1/10 behind, and Magnussen goes up the inside into the chicane, sends one up the inside there, pushes us off the track. Bit of contact, I think, wheel to wheel with Magnussen, and we let him take the inside line there and get that overtake. But really, just let him do that. To be honest, we completely left the door wide open to Magnussen. I think we can get a replay of that in a moment. Just wasn't even thinking. Here we go, coming out of the tunnel, left the door wide open. Poor defensive driving from me. I didn't even think about defending, so it wasn't even defensive driving. And up the inside he goes, and look at that, he pushes us off the track there. We have to cut the corner, but not too much, because we'll get a penalty the way this game works. Even if you get pushed off the track, if I would have took that whole corner completely, I would have got like a 10-second penalty. But coming through now, can we chase down Magnussen, stick with him? We're going to be in DRS range for Magnussen, first time in this race getting DRS. Coming through the final corners, our teammate Oscar Piastri behind us now, and we have to really consider now, is Piastri going to be faster than us? Do we have to employ team orders here, and will Piastri get past us by himself, or will we have to try and let him pass? Does he have that pace right now? 2.5 tenths behind us, 2 tenths as we climb the hill. He must have got a better launch out to turn 1. Definitely should consider letting him pass, otherwise Latifi in that Williams will catch him. Obviously right now there's not really much to play for at the bottom part of the grid, because there's no points apart from when you get into the top 10. Magnussen though, 3.5 tenths ahead now, or 3.5 seconds ahead. I wish it was 3.5 tenths. 3.5 seconds ahead now, Kevin Magnussen, and the gap behind to Piastri 5 tenths. You know, Piastri, like I was mentioning with Stroll before, there was definitely corners where he would make up time on us, but the rest of the time we were just fully pulling ahead. So those team orders just didn't even come into mind, because there was nowhere to let him overtake that wouldn't cost us massively in our own race. Pierre Gasly out of the session. Now this could be a massive moment. Oh, Pierre nearly into the wall. There's smoke coming out of his engine. It's engine failure for the AlphaTauri, and he was lucky not to get hit there. We got hit by Kevin Magnussen, even though he was off the racing line. But Pierre, on the racing line, doesn't get hit by anyone. So, yeah, that just shows AI bias, obviously. They just want to penalise me and not crash into anyone else. But Pierre nearly went into the wall himself. That could have been an absolutely massive moment. If that brought out a safety car, we could have went for an early pit stop. Would have been a long way to go to push to the end on medium tyres from there. But we would have had to do it, realistically, to have any chance in this race. And look at that on the MFD, orange notification on the engine, 60% wear on the ICE. Of course, when you get to 55% wear on the ICE, as we get a warning for track limits, when you get to 55% wear, it says that you've got a loss of power. So we're back in square one of the first 4 races of this season, losing power in the engine. And to add on top of that, we've got what's it called? What are they called? I don't even know what it's called. I just heard a noise at the front door there. But anyway, what was I going to say? Damaged front wing. There we go. Yeah, sorry if you can hear noise outside, by the way. There's work getting done on the house and there's loads of noise, so that took up distracted me there. But coming through to start lap 18 now, we nearly crashed into someone again coming out of the pits. That pit exit is really dangerous when you're going down the main straight. And there goes Magnussen again on lap 21, coming out of the tunnel, overtakes us in the same position. Magnussen now has pit. Completed his 1 pit stop and still is ahead of us, overtaking us, even though we haven't pit yet. That just shows how slow they actually were this race. Oscar Piastri and Latifi in behind us, they have pit, and we are going to come into the pits now on lap 23. So coming into the pits with a damaged front wing, dead tyres, dead engine, 70% wear on the ICE. Can we even finish this race, or are we going to have to retire yet again in another race with engine failure? Who knows? Let's find out. Can we have a good pit stop here? It was good on the turn-in, 2.8 seconds. It's mid. It's not good. It's not. And they didn't change the front wing. They did not change the front wing. It would have cost us so much time. We may as well have just retired if we did change the front wing. But yeah, like it's not good. It's not good. We're gonna have to carry this. We're gonna have to carry this damage on the front wing for the rest of the race. And try and catch Latifi now. We're dead last in this race. Medium tyres, nothing to lose. Latifi 12 seconds ahead of us on hard tyres. We're going to have a faster compounded tyre. Are we going to be faster in the actual race though with this battered engine and battered front wing? Or what are we going to be able to do here? Like, actually, what are we going to be able to do? We've got a lot of laps left in this race though. If we are still going to make an impact, we definitely can, because of how long it is left in this race. Lap 28, you can see, climbing the hill, just trying to, again, just chase down Latifi, chase down our teammate Piastri. Magnussen still ahead of Piastri. I think he's going to be way ahead of Piastri because we didn't employ those team orders and let him overtake us. But as we head towards the tunnel here on lap 28, we've got some team radio.
Just so you know, we're getting some strange readings from a couple of the sensors, so I don't think you need to be worried, just some bad data. So keep doing what you're doing. I'll let you know if we notice any genuine problems.
And just like that, another problem to add in there. Damaged engine, or damaged front wing, worn engine. And now the engineers are seeing some data on the sensors that doesn't look good. So, and normally when it tells you that, you're going to have to retire. So let's find out, are we going to be able to get this car across the line in one piece in 11? Well, there's not even one piece because we've left a piece of front wing somewhere on the track on lap 1. But the gap to Latifi now 7 seconds. You can see we're chipping away at that gap to Latifi, and we could definitely catch him back using this pace that we've got here. We will overtake Latifi by the end of the race if my math is correct. Pushing though. Will the engine blow up before we even get to the Canadian driver? Who knows? You can see the gap to... just hit myself with the mic in the head as I tried to get close. Magnussen is 31 seconds behind the car in front of him. That just shows how much I held up this pack. And obviously Piastri 10 seconds behind Magnussen himself, just showing how much I did compromise everyone's race as we get blue flags here. And we have to pull to the side, left through one of the McLarens, left through the Alfa Romeo Bottas, and coming through the tunnel now. There's an Alpine behind us and it's going to be a tricky one, parked right on the apex of the corner, so apologies for that, Fernando Alonso. But Alonso goes past us, and by the time we get lapped by those cars, you can see the gap now to Latifi is 13 seconds. It's even bigger than it was before we started closing the gap, so that pretty much ruined any chance of us getting back at Latifi, because, you know, obviously, like I've just said, we had to let the lap cars overtake us, and then we were struggling for tyre grip towards the end of the race. George Russell wins the Grand Prix. The first time somebody has won a Grand Prix that wasn't Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc from pole position does not manage to convert it into a win. Charles Leclerc, and there's smoke coming out of the engine you've just seen. Charles Leclerc actually in real life won his first race this weekend in Austria, that wasn't from pole position, so maybe he's not a fraud. We'll find out later on in the season. Coming through the final corner though, almost getting lapped again, blowing smoke in the face of Mick Schumacher. We actually make it across the line in one piece, or two pieces, multiple pieces, but the engine on fire. 21st, speaking of engine on fire, the other Ferrari, Carlos Sainz's car went on fire in real life this weekend. That was quite scary. Sebastian Vettel, this is a mess of a commentary. Sebastian Vettel with driver of the day there. If you are familiar with this series in the channel, you know how coveted that driver of the day award is. We're really going to try and get it. Double make podium there. You can see the other Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton in P3. Wonder who came P2. Did Charles actually manage to get on the podium in his home race or not? A first career race win for George Russell there, and what a way to do it. It comes in Monaco. He took Charles into that first corner as we saw on lap 1. Just got the jump on him off the start and must have just kept him behind for the rest of the race there once he had that free air in front of him, and just managed to push all the way. Really not a fan of the silver livery of the Mercedes this year, I can't lie. They need to go back to black like Amy Winehouse. But on the podium you can see it was Charles Leclerc on that second step on the podium. Is this the first time George and Lewis have been on a podium together in their careers? I think it might be. I'm not sure. It definitely is in our career mode anyway. But Charles Leclerc picking up the victory trophy there. And it's an actual trophy this time, and not just like you know, the other races, if you look at the trophies that you get given for winning them, it's just like a cup and you think, oh, this is just generic. But now there's actually some character to this podium celebration. We get the trophy of, that's like a map of the circuit. Charles Leclerc, he'll be unhappy to not win his home race, but Ferrari still massive points for them, massive points for Mercedes this race, and massive points for Charles in his Drivers' Standings Championship battle. It was not even a battle at this point, we'll check the standings in a moment. But Sergio Perez finishes P14, he only made up 2 places in that Red Bull, showing how hard it is to overtake in Monaco. Nobody really making moves in the top 11 plus, and then obviously we finish 1 place up because Pierre retired. So here's the driver standings then. You see the gap between Max and Charles, and the gap between Mercedes now, who move up into P2 in the constructors. That is massive. Mercedes. Oh, here's a bonus clip sponsored by no one. Getting into lap 38. This was our last lap of the Grand Prix. And on the final corner, we almost go in the wall there. And it looks like we parked up and that's the end of the race. But no, we have to reverse. We almost went straight into the wall, blowing smoke. And there's a huge explosion out the back of the car. More smoke coming out as we're about to get lapped by Yuki Tsunoda, Mick Schumacher, some orange car back there. Don't know who's driving. Not a relevant driver. Speaking of irrelevant drivers, you saw him on the right there. Daniel Ricciardo, our rival at the moment. He's smashing us in that rivalry battle. We haven't got any money from our sponsor as well, because our sponsor goal is to out-qualify a rival, which we've not been able to do yet. Baku, though, one of my favourite circuits. Definitely one of my best circuits, as well as we pick up a weight reduction upgrade there. That'll make us faster in the straights and the car a lot lighter. But we won't get that till after Baku. But yeah, Baku, one of my preferred circuits. Think I'm very good there. There comes that drag reduction upgrade. It comes through before the Baku race, which is absolutely massive. Powertrain dilemma. Do we want to lose 50k cash and gain morale, or just lose morale? I want to lose the cash and gain the morale, because I don't want to lose morale. And because that'll lead to our upgrades failing, which we don't want to see. We don't want to see our upgrades fail. But like I say, Azerbaijan Grand Prix, the Baku City Circuit, getting into this one. Can't wait. Hopefully the car feels good. And I mean, I doubt it. We're gonna have to take another engine, aren't we? I don't even know. Like, what's the engine scenario looking like for us? Is that just another grid penalty starting from the back of the grid again? Like, what is wrong with this game? Why can't we just have fun? You know, Codemasters, please do something to fix it. I've said it in every single video. Please fix it. Dutchy Games, it seems like you lied, mate, because the engine blew up again here in Monaco. But if you did enjoy this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. You know the vibes. I'll catch us next time for Baku. Take it easy.